Over the years, our family's had a share of health problems.
So prescriptions are a part of our life.
Before we went to the big box store.
We both thought it would help us save. But with the long lines and impersonal service, filling prescriptions became a chore. That's when a friend recommended D&H.
Now Tristan knows our prescriptions. Brenda always helps us find the right vitamins. And after Dad's fall, Monica's been a real expert with all our home medical needs. All without the lines.
Trust and service.
That's our D&H.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends. This is Thursday. It's November the 6th. Good to have you with us today. And we are talking about the National Federation of the Blind Trivia Night. October, which we just finished, was National Meet the Blind Month. And we have a delightful young lady with us today, DACIA Cole. Good to have you here, DACIA.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And you are president of the Columbia chapter of National Federation of the Blind, right?
Yes, I've been president the last couple of years, and we do several things. And mentioning Meet the Blind Month, we, on October 18th, had a walkathon where a number of our members went out and we walked 2.5 miles around Stevens Lake Park to raise money to help fund our programs and a scholarship we give out to a blind female college student every year. So,
you know, we were talking before we came on the air here, and you have impressed me to no end by everything that you do. Everything that you do, the way you live your life. Being blind does not stop you. And I said, when she was going on a litany of things that you do, I said, well, now you don't drive a car, do you? And she goes, well, not yet. Now, what did you mean by not yet?
Not yet, because the National Federation of the Blind on a national level, along with Virginia Tech, is working on creating a car that can be driven by a blind person. There is something called the Blind Driver Challenge, which if you look it up online, you will see our current president, Mark Riccobono, actually got to drive this car around the Daytona International Speedway. And he got to drive it one time with his family in the back seat. It had he put on sensors and had things, and between the sensors in the car, it told him, when he needed to turn, and someone was throwing various boxes and obstacles onto the track that he had to avoid.
And did he avoid all of them?
He did avoid all of them. He didn't hit any of them. He properly avoided them, and he said it was exhilarating to be able to drive his own family in the car. He has 3 children and a wife, and he was able to drive them independently in this car. And so sometime in the future, it's hard to know when, but a accessible car for the blind to drive will be in the future.
Okay, and I have no doubt that when that car becomes available, you're going to be behind the wheel.
Yes, sir, I will.
All right.
The rest of Columbia might want to watch out, but I will be.
I'm sure you'll be behind the wheel. But you were telling me how you do your email, and you do all of your own typing, and you were telling me that you type so very fast that some of your friends tell you to slow down.
Right. If they're trying to type at the same time or keep up with me, they tell me I type too fast. But
now you've been blind all of your life. You were born blind, right?
Correct.
So how did you learn to type if you did not see the keyboard ever?
How I learned was in the very beginning when I first learned when I was really little, they put Braille letters. They had Braille letters on stickers, and they put them on the different letters of the keyboard so I could first learn the layout. But as I got older, I started to learn a screen reader, which is called JAWS. And what that does is it reads any information that's on the screen, so that something you would see visually, it would orally read it to me. And then it would tell me what I'm typing. So for instance, if I wrote an email, it would read it either by word or by letter, however I had it set, what I'm typing. And then if I wanted to read someone's response, it would do the same thing. I can navigate social media. I can do websites with it. I can do anything, pretty much anything anyone can do on a computer.
So when you go to a website, and let's say if you go to Google and you type something in, and you go to that particular website, it will read what is on the screen at that website?
Yeah, it will start reading whatever's on that screen. If it's all graphics, it's going to be a little harder. It'll just say like graphic 203. But if they're labeled, it'll say graphic 203, man holding American flag, or whatever the graphic is. But it will read whatever it sees on the screen.
What about making phone calls?
My cell phone is a smartphone, and so it has a program that I've installed on it that talks. It gives me oral prompts, so I can navigate it to check email or open websites, and they'll read like my computer does, or I can send a
when
message.
you check on your smartphone, when you check email, it's going to read you the emails too.
Yep, it's going to read me the emails, or if I'm sending a text messages, it's going to read what it says, or if someone sends me one back. So it will read everything that my phone is telling me.
And you told me you're doing Twitter now?
A little bit of Twitter. I do more Facebook, but I'm working on Twitter. It's an experience.
Oh, you're outstanding. You're outstanding.
Well, thank you.
You're here, besides impressing me a great deal, to talk about the National Federation of the Blind Trivia Night. When is that? It'll
be November 15th at Kemper Arena, and doors will open at 5:30. Trivia will start around 6. It costs $20 per person, or $160 for a table 8. So if you're by yourself, that's fine. If you got 7 friends, that's fine. If you have 3 friends, bring them along. We'll put you together with a group.
If they're by themselves and they want to buy a whole table and just do the trivia themselves.
There you go. That works too.
You probably could handle a whole table by yourself.
I don't know, but maybe.
So, and all the money that comes in, all the money that you raise that night, where does it go? What's it used for?
It goes for several things. One of the things that we do is we go to the legislature every year, both state and nationally, and we talk to them about issues involving blindness. For instance, ensuring that appliances are accessible. So many appliances these days are touchscreen. And all we're asking is that a chip that has an audio menu in it be put in these appliances. It's not an expensive thing to do, for instance. So you could, you turn on your oven and it will tell you, what temperature it's set at. And then you can say, okay, and you can use the touch screen with the audio and say, set it to bake for 350. Right now, that's not accessible. Most touch screens are inaccessible. And so that's one of the biggest things.
So part of the money that comes in from Trivia Night will be trying to make this happen.
Right, to help fund people to attend the seminar. And we also have a scholarship that we provide every year to a blind female college student that we give at our state convention. We also do help with advocacy, or persons who feel that they aren't being treated fairly. A number of years ago, we had a little baby girl. Her parents were both blind, and her mom gave birth to her, and Division of Family Services determined that they felt she and her husband or boyfriend weren't capable of caring for the child because they were both blind, and they took her away. And we fought with them. We went to court with them, and the day of the case, they dropped her off and dropped it. And now thanks to that hard work and thanks to our hard work after, we were able to pass what we call Michaela's Law, where it's stated now that a parent cannot have their child taken away solely based on blindness. There has to be extenuating circumstances.
We're out of time for today, but let's plug again. It is National Federation of the Blind Trivia Night, November the 15th. Where?
Kemper Arena, 268-6989 for registration, 268-6989.
268-6989. You got it. We're out of time. Let's see. Our program directed by Travis McMillen, Reynolds Journalism Institute, audio Pat Akers, KBIA, our flow director Lowell Thomas, our assistant producer and guest coordinator Uncle James Mauser. Bye-bye.